right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, back on the deck. Keeper Farmer Cigar Deck Talks. Not only that, we have a lovely assistant, a lovely host, a lovely guest. Say hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's the wife. She is back. And not only that, but this is a momentous occasion. What do you have?
Milk.
It's not milk. What is it?
I don't remember what it's called.
Mudslide.
It's not the mudslide.
Did you
It's
get
the other
Kahlua?
one. It's the one that's got cinnamon in
White
it.
Russian?
Something
Oh,
like-
it's the churro.
Yeah, the churro.
Yeah, the churro one. That's still from Tchotchkes or
I don't
Cha-Chas.
know. It's the same as the mudslide. Chi-Chi's? I don't know.
We have to switch spots. My smoke is going
Yeah,
right
right
in
in
that
my
direction.
face.
Why don't we just do a little Linda Lou here real quick? Because that, it's pretty impressive. And since it is such a beautiful day, we're out on the deck. We have two other little special editions. Oberon. Oberon is probably one of the first beers that was more than a Labatt's Blue that I had after college. This was kind of the specialty beer. We used to get mini kegs of it every summer. I haven't done that in many years. We should do that again, though.
Actually, the last time you did it with your forge when you got them in.
Yep. Good. Amber beer. I'll let the head go down. And of course, no summer day could not be without the oh shit. They're still edible. Still good. I'll eat those ones. Someone cut them into halves, so it's a
do
little
not play me.
unruly. Chocolate pudding bread with a combination. Oh man, that sun has really messed with the exposure. A combination of butter and cream cheese. So exciting. So delicious.
So weird.
Oh, and I almost forgot the cigar. Man, it's just stuff all over the place.
You're like not
The
following
cigar.
order.
The Filthy Viking.
Given what we're talking about, it's kind of funny that you're doing so much out of order.
I know, right? This is the topic is you tonight. The Filthy Viking is an American Viking cigar. Delicious. The draw on this one is amazing. Absolutely love the draw. And my tripod. No wonder why everything's all messed up. My tripod is. Let's see if we can get that.
Really confusing.
Get that a little straightened out there. I don't know what that's. Oh, I see the back leg is the one that's messed up.
You're doing something
I
wrong.
know, right? This is just all sorts of weird. I'll just leave it. I'll leave it. Here we go. All right, honey. You picked the topic tonight. What are we talking about?
Well, I suggested a couple topics, but I think we did.
You suggested one.
No, I suggested two.
What was the other one?
The public school system.
You can do the public school system. That was fun in the scheduling and planning, but your call.
We discussed it, but you didn't seem like you wanted to do that one.
Oh, that's fine.
The public school.
Let's talk about public school.
Okay.
We're planning and scheduling. Which one do you prefer?
Well, I mean, so for me right now, they're very linked.
Mm-hmm.
So.
How so? Let's kick it off for us.
Okay. Well, should I give away the?
I suppose. This one's
When
not
is
going
this
to come
gonna be
out.
presented?
I'll put this one out a few weeks later. Don't worry.
Okay, so we're having this exchange student, and of course he has to attend public school.
As part of his
As
visa.
part of his visa. So, I've, about, I want to say about 8 months ago, actually, I contacted the public school. I called them, no answer. And then I messaged their Facebook page because I've learned in the process of a lot of things recently, trying to go to the zoo and schedule field trips and stuff, that sometimes the Facebook page, their social media, they respond so much
That's the way to
faster.
go.
No, they didn't. So here I am. I've actually contacted their Facebook page at least 2 times, I think, trying to get information about the school because the Swedish Compass was interested in basketball again, and I thought, well, maybe she'd have a better experience with the public school team, who has a more consistent, more structured schedule with a lot more games. And so I reached out to them, and I've never received any kind of response. And then, so, our exchange student is going to be going to the public school. And of course, our daughter, who is having some, I don't know what you call it, some
Teenage angst.
teenage angst, questions,
Growing
growing
pains.
So she expressed an interest in public school, which admittedly I am 100% against, but I was supportive because she had on the surface some pretty good reasons. But those reasons were really just
They were
the surface.
superficial.
They were very superficial, and her real reasons are actually not very good at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, the superficial ones very much were she wanted to help out with the exchange student, help him kind of acclimatize. She wanted to socialize, and she wanted to just see, like, which I kind of get. She wanted to see if we were hiding,
What it really is like.
yeah, what it's really like, or what like some deeper knowledge, because she realized that we are very conservative in our views, but a lot of her friends are very liberal in their views. And she wanted to know, like, what the difference was. That's what she said at first. But then her reasoning kind of, shall we say, went off the rails.
Kind of fell more to peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot more to, well, so-and-so says I don't know anything because I'm homeschooled, or because I live in the country, or...
Yeah.
So it's more peer pressure, and not a good kind of peer pressure. So I kind of, once I started hearing more and more of her reasons, I got less and less supportive. But I'm not a big fan of the public school system. As I said, I've tried to contact the one here multiple times with no luck. So I don't have a very good view of it anyway. I mean, I didn't have a terrible experience as a student when, 20 years ago when we graduated high school. I didn't have a terrible experience, but I didn't have a great one.
Yeah.
And so, and I've kind of been following along a lot of the stuff that's happening in the public school system. We have a couple of friends whose kids are in public school, or with COVID, they started homeschooling and they kind of have the whole, never going back mentality. So I don't have a great view of public school, but I do know that it works for some kids better.
And
some
she is the
families.
type, Swedish Compass is the type where...
She can be, but she really doesn't like people.
She doesn't, but I think it would actually...
So
3 years ago, 4 years ago, would have been a really good thing for her to try out, for her to experience that world, that difference, because there is a huge difference.
So, so anyway, I haven't done a lot of scheduling and planning because we were kind of in limbo whether Swedish Compass would be going to the public school with our host student or whether she would be homeschooled. And she honestly hasn't even decided. If you ask her, she doesn't have a decision made yet. So she's kind of like, ooh, Uber farmer contacted a good friend who is also a priest and asked his opinion.
Yeah.
And I would say that while his opinion didn't surprise me, it was hilarious and very, very
Now,
vindicating
to
for
be
me.
fair, this priest usually will not give you this is what you should do. It's more of read this Bible passage, get this book,
Which he started out.
which he started out with, but then it became quickly a very definitive,
This would be a huge mistake.
yeah.
You can do it, it's your right, but you're really making a mistake. It'd pretty much be screwing up.
Yeah.
I think his favorite.
Not that I
line-
think not that I want to tell you what to do with your child, but here's what you need to do with your child.
Yeah, I think my favorite line was that he wouldn't send his dog to obedience school there in the public school system because it'd probably come out thinking it was a cat. So he's very opinionated. But I've also talked to a couple of former principals right here in the area who are like, yeah, no, don't send them. Do not do it. Keep them home. They're learning more, they're doing it better, and they're not having the negative influence and impact of, God isn't real, and, suicidal thoughts and depression. And he's like, that's what's really being pushed at these teenagers right now, and it would be a terrible idea. And that was actually a former principal who recently retired that was telling us this. That last part. So I've been really against it. Plus, I also have a friend who was substitute teaching in a local school district who had terrible experiences and, like, yeah, and will not send her child to the public school system either because of what she's seen when subbing her children. So,
well, we even had like a relative of mine who is a like master degree educator, has been to some of the best universities to become a teacher in the world, and they contacted us what,
years ago,
4 or 5, no, it must have been almost 6 years ago,
6-7 years ago,
to tell us that she was pulling her kid, and
she saw the way the school systems were going and did not want to be a
she
part of it.
saw the direction. She still teaches there, as far as I know.
Nope.
No, did she finally walk?
She homeschools full time, as far as I know.
Oh, she was okay. So she doesn't. Okay,
So
interesting.
she doesn't public school teach anymore, as far as I understand it. I think she did for a little while, and then she actually started creating and selling her own homeschool curriculum.
Well, I know the Ronas helped her out quite a bit with that because.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't really teach. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've kind of decided that that's not going to happen. We also talked about sending her to a private Catholic school, and about.
Well, we were told
we should.
by the priest's letter that.
Yeah, if anything, that's the only school in the area
In the UP that we should be sending her
that
to.
she would even consider, but that even doesn't provide the same level of education, which it doesn't, because we can tailor everything to needs and interests and where they can't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I mean, we kind of talked about this where you go to a Catholic school and the emphasis is on Catholicism. So you're learning Latin, you're learning scripture, you're learning biblical history,
philosophy,
theology.
all excellent subjects.
Oh, beautiful subjects. But Swedish Compass has said in not so many indistinct or vague way, she's been very clear she wants to get into coding, especially video game coding. So,
and that's not something she could get there.
That's not even, I don't think they have a typing class, let alone a computer class there.
Not that I saw. I mean, maybe. So yeah, so she doesn't, so I don't think it would be a good fit. Plus it's kind of expensive. And it's quite distant. It's 17-ish miles away
17
one
miles.
way, so every day it would be transporting her that distance one way or another, whether we drive her the whole way or drive her halfway and meet a bus or something, which on the roads here in the winter, that's not always the best idea.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to go with either option, so now I can start scheduling.
Here it comes now. This is the topic you wanted to, good pivot.
No.
Because you can keep going about school unless you really want to pivot about scheduling and.
No, but that's like I see
your
I feel
your
like I
thought
was
process.
a little behind on the scheduling and the planning because we have been kind of focused on this public school.
And we shared, just to be honest, we shared all the information we had with Swedish Compass from what the priest said and what we're finding out from schools. And she's like, well,
she doesn't
I need to sit back and
she
reconsider.
doesn't like dresses and skirts, so knowing that the uniform is a skirt is kind of a meh. And knowing that, like, legitimately there are, in public school, in no uncertain terms, that we've had somebody tell us that it would just be a waste.
Yep.
Of 4
still
years.
homeschoolers, so that
they continue homeschooling so that
behind.
it's not a complete waste of 4 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So yes, but you even called the public school to try to set up an appointment for us to go see and meet the principal for our host student, and they have not returned
Still haven't returned our
in
calls.
a couple of days. So, and they're open now. I don't know if you called the high school office.
Called the high school office where he was supposed to be going.
So maybe they're just trying to catch up last month.
Who knows? Maybe they decided to take a last minute week off before the hurrah. I think you said there's an open house coming up.
No, that's for the camp.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's just like they're trying to catch up with calls from. They were closed for all of July, so maybe they're trying to catch up. I don't know. So yeah, not a good opinion of the public school here, considering they have not been they've never responded.
No, this might just be a show up.
Yeah, I liked their Facebook page almost a year ago. maybe longer. When we kind of were like, well, maybe. I mean, it is right here.
Yep. And to be honest, everyone watching, we don't stop our kids from going. If they actually wanted to go for the right reasons, like, they go.
Yeah.
I mean, up until the CCP virus hit, we would have let them go 100%. But then, after the CCP virus hit, truths were found out. Which, I had one person tell us that as homeschoolers, we probably would have found out those truths ourselves
Pretty quickly.
because we're so involved with our children's education that we would have known very quickly like what was being taught. And we might be those annoying parents who exercise our right with the public school to sit in on lessons.
And go to the board meetings. And I actually thought about running for the board.
You can.
The school board.
There's 4 positions
There's 4
open.
positions,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And-
That's posted on Facebook. But they
And
don't
and
respond
there's
on
a
it.
even a quick start guide to get to know the position.
That's nice. That's nice. Are you gonna run?
Yeah, maybe.
You're more I don't want to say like more intimidating, but you're more political.
I'm more political. I can do the political dance. I'm unfortunately getting better and better at that at every year. So
Hey, obviously I'm getting better.
how's that an obvious?
I did not quit.
You can't quit.
The issue was resolved.
Yeah. Because sweet baby Jesus finally came into that conversation.
Anyway.
You brought that one up. I wasn't going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. On
I
these
did
ones, but
fine though. Like I'm not
You did
usually
alright.
very political. I'm not like into that sort of thing, but I am helping, and I did join a couple of
political
things with our
boards.
co-op because it was necessary for our kids to be able to participate in every faction of our group that we participate in, multiple factions. So like you have to be involved, of course. Because it's a co-op, so if you're not involved, then you can't have a co-op because you have to have involvement from parents. So I am, and
And as a dad, I'm not allowed because
well, you could be.
I've got a rocket between my legs instead of a crater.
Would you not say stuff like that?
In my videos.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Oh.
Anyway, so that I am part of the sports board and a couple things like that, and it's been an adjustment. So
Adjustment's a good word.
it's going okay now. So anyway,
We are excited of recording this video. Now, you won't see this until probably almost September. We do have our exchange student is less than 2 weeks away from touching down.
yeah.
You probably all will have seen the video of us talking about our pre-gaming, shall we say, or I don't know how you put that, our anticipation, planning, anticipation, our
expectation.
realization of the fact that we were going to have a 7th addition to our
kid
family for 10 months.
Yeah. It was nice that we did get to talk to him.
We did. I feel really bad that we timed out, and I don't know if you still have that account, the Zoom account, or not.
I do.
That's something we might want to put a pin in once he gets here, since, you know, he might want to talk to his mama and brother.
Yeah.
Might be something to look into, but he timed out. He was a good kid, seems very good English, actually. I'm shocked on how
You can tell it takes him a
proficient.
moment to process
It takes
some
a little
things,
bit,
but, like, he does a really good job.
It was, you were 100% correct. We talked about this. We went on a walk yesterday, and we were talking about, like, I was to explain ice fishing to him, and I can tell, like, he was like, okay, yes. And I was like, oh, does he, like, those are pretty simple. I didn't use complex terms. And you're like, well, the whole, like, understand what ice is. Like, he can't
Well,
comprehend. I mean, he knows what ice is, obviously, but the fact that a lake would be
Ice
so full
over,
with
yeah.
ice that, you could walk into the middle of a lake. You can walk miles on some of these lakes,
Well, and I don't think like it gets snowy and like really super cold there. Now maybe there's parts where it does because there are mountains and stuff there.
I think, didn't we find out he did not? He's never seen snow. He's
Yeah,
told
he
us
said
that.
he's never seen snow. So
snow.
obviously it doesn't get nearly as cold as it does here.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Which is good.
That'll be an adventure for him.
Be
I
an
think it'll make
adventure.
it even more exciting. And I'm sure the school will have some activities in the fall and winter for him to experience some
Yeah, some
things.
experiential learning.
I think they have a couple around Halloween that he's probably never experienced.
Yeah, I have no idea with that.
So-
That one I don't know.
So that'll be fun for him. Like we'll have to go like trick or treating and stuff.
Trick-or-treating. Well, we definitely have to. So Michigan Tech, a university up here, has Winter Carnival. And I mean, still to this day, I've lived in the UP my entire life. I've been to Winter Carnival, I think, shit, half my life. So
we actually had it at our college. That was
they had
really
the
didn't
they
go
had
so
the
well.
joke one, yeah. But they do snow sculptures that can be up to 3 stories tall. Tall enough that one collapsed and killed some people. So I mean, these are ginormous snow sculptures. They carve people and just, I mean, what?
Essentially buildings. Well, they charge it. They carve a chapel for the Catholic Church there every year, right?
Yep, they do. They do the church chapel, which is we just found out is last year that a seminarian who stopped by and used to hang out at our place while he was going through seminary during the summer is the priest there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the priest at St.
I
Al's.
saw that he gave mass there. I wasn't sure he was the priest.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where he's stationed, so it'll be kind of fun to see him again. He was a good guy, and I mean, I've seen the Winter Carnival again like 20, 30 times, and each time it's just
I think I've only
Just
seen it
amazing.
3 or 4.
yeah. I mean, it's just awe-inspiring. I can only imagine someone who's never seen ice and snow to see those.
Oh,
That is.
I hope he's got a camera
Uh-huh.
when he comes because he's probably gonna want those pictures to show mom and dad.
Those
and
are
mom
those
and his
are
brother
his
and-
mom and his brother. Those are quite impressive. You know, I wish there was a way we could take them. There's a few other places that like. What always surprised me with the winter is how topography changes. Like valleys become hills all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and you know you have roads that also become impassable. We even sent him one of our chicken coop. Our oldest son, Vashman, had to actually shovel out the entire coop because we got so much snow in one snowstorm that you couldn't open the doors. You couldn't get the chickens couldn't get out of their coop, and I mean he had to shovel inside, outside, around the side, towards the side. It was quite impressive. So that'll be fun for him.
Yeah. I definitely think it'll be an educational experience for him. So,
I mean, I think before he starts school, we'll probably do Michilimackinac.
well, and that's nice and close.
That's close.
And if I get the family pass, it'll be like we could go for Fright Night.
Mm-hmm. More Halloween stuff. Should we risk impropriety and take him to a paranormal convention?
Oh, I don't
No, is that too much?
know. That might be
Too much?
No, we wouldn't take our own kids there because there is a lot of vulgarity and a lot of inappropriate innuendo.
No vulgarity.
Oh, there's a lot of vulgarity.
I don't remember vulgarity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember much vulgarity. I know there's some like.
They're not all the presenters, but
Yeah.
like the demonologists and stuff like that. A lot of that's totally inappropriate for a young Catholic to be.
True enough. True enough.
A young teen anyway should not be.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't do that.
But I don't know if there's any other big stuff we want to take him to. Taquamenon Falls might be fun, although they have, and again, it depends on how well traveled he is in Brazil, because Brazil
Well, they have
has
huge waterfalls. and
huge.
everything, Yeah.
You know, we got water features. I think what might blow his mind is like go to Lake Superior and be like, this is not an ocean.
Yeah, this is just our lake.
This is freshwater lake. It's unfortunate. I doubt we can probably take him to Canada because there's also some Canadian stuff that would just be amazing.
I know that they can go to Canada, but there's a lot to
There's
that.
a lot to that.
And I don't think I want to deal with that.
I don't. No, correct. I mean, the Mackinac Bridge alone is kind of cool to see. I really want to get them underground one way or another, whether that's to get them under into with Eagle Mine or to take them to like the Quincy Mine Shaft.
Iron History Museum is over in Nagano.
But some of those ones where you can actually go underground because
that one has an underground.
Yeah, that one does too. Yeah.
Ishpeming does.
Ishpeming has an underground, and Quincy Mine Shaft has an underground, and then I don't know if it'll work. It'll be close, but there's actually one. They actually blast you out ore for you to find copper, so you can get float copper. So it's like the full experience. They blast you out a chunk of ore, and then you act as a miner, chipping away at ore. And you can get some what's called float copper, which is the most purest copper you can find in the world. You can basically, beat it into a spoon if you wanted to right then and there. You don't get a ton, but
that goes back to the planning. That's a lot of scheduling.
That's a lot of scheduling and planning.
So we did learn that really quickly already, that homeschool versus public school, that we kind of have to consider that when we plan things and try to do things with our schedule. Because we're used to, with homeschool, if we want to plan a field trip or plan a 4-day trip, it's just okay, we grab the books and we go. Or we leave the books and we, make it up the next week or something.
So there's an awesome training. I'll probably do a whole video on it, definitely after, but maybe before. Essentially about being married and being in EMS, fire, law enforcement. That's coming up here in September.
October.
You're right, it is October. And like many of these trainings, they want to get professionals, so people from the state, people from the county, and it's a training that even like me working for the state, I can write off. Like I'm 80% sure, I haven't talked to my boss about it, but like I can attend this training and it'd be billable. They might even like pay for a hotel room. But so it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The kicker is that our exchange student will be in school, and where my homeschool kids, I could just easily yeet them out of school. The public school has rules.
Rules before you can take a student out of class.
You're right.
So that's going to be an adjustment for our family, the public school schedule.
That'll be tough because we are used to being very free with our schedule.
Yeah. And Swedish Compass, I think as soon as, because I mentioned that actually, like, oh, well, we kind of wanted to do this in October, but I don't know if it's going to happen. She's like, well, you could take me out of school for that if I went to public school or if I went to private school. And I'm like, no, Savannah.
No, you really can't.
You really can't just take you out of school for no reason. Like it's got to be, like, approved and scheduled.
Well, and even, like, if you don't have the right grades.
Yeah, if you don't have the right grade, we're not. Well, and that's more on us, I think, with her. But with the school,
school too. I mean, if you can't. Right, our exchange student.
But with her, it would be more our opinion.
Dinero.
Yeah.
No.
So.
You better come up with a good gamer handle,
yeah,
because that's. Maybe you should message him that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that is a problem. Like we have to adjust to that.
That'll be an adjustment. That's going to be a
bit of a, that's going to take us some time. And a lot of times we actually specifically schedule trips and vacations and stuff when the public school system
when the public schools
are in session.
So
like our spring break is actually not when most public schools do spring break. We do it later or earlier depending on the year, so we can go and do events and stuff elsewhere without kind of having so many like other people, like, because when public schools are on break, like parents use that time to their advantage to go and do fun stuff with their kids, and like it gets super busy in most like museums and parks and so we like to do it during during the year.
All right, stand by. We're going to take a quick editing break here, so hold on, folks. We'll be right back. Editing break over. This makes the videos a lot easier to mesh together and meld together if I take those little breaks. I remember to do them. A couple videos I haven't, and my computer suffers to put these long form videos together. But yeah, I mean, just stuff like the trapping convention. We used to, go on Friday. Kids do their schoolwork Monday through Thursday. We can take Friday off. The EMS conference is coming up, so that's another one that I really wanted to attend, but we usually go as a family for that as well, because it's kind of our I don't
That's
call
always
it,
been our holiday.
yeah, our vacation, our holiday, our dirty little secret. Because I mean, the guy who used to run it, now granted it's a new team who's running, and they're kind of still working through some hiccups, but the guy who used to run it, I mean, he rented out a room specifically for like
For families.
4 families to bring
Well,
your
okay,
kids.
but a lot of
and-
that I think was for his family too. Like he had his kids there. And
True, but
it
after
was
the first year we
convenience.
brought our kids, he's like, your kids are coming back, right? Because his kids had such a blast playing with our kids and picked up some good habits. That he's like, you will be bringing your kids, right? Just checking. No, yes, maybe. Which is really cool. I mean, that is another fun conference we take off. We try to think of other things we kind of eat in the middle of the week, and
Well, that one's part week, part weekend. A lot of field trips, which we don't have to change because usually they're day field trips.
no.
We do during the week. So if we can like reasonably leave early in the morning, get there, have a good time, spend like as much time as we are comfortable spending before we're worn out and want to go home anyway, and then still make it home before it gets super dark, we'll do that in day trips rather than spend the night somewhere, which can be inconvenient, especially with having a dog and other animals
Some kids.
and the kids. So yeah, so some of that we can just do, but it will be an adjustment to be like, okay, well, I guess we'll save this for Saturday.
Right. And a lot of stuff might be pushed off to, okay, when do you have your
When's spring,
spring break?
When's like there are a few professional days. I think there's 5 to 8 professional days or half days.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the kids' aunt, and I don't know if this will work or not. I mean, she's supposed to come to Michigan, but so my sister actually went to Brazil for a year, and to say she's probably more excited than we are is probably an understatement. Actually, she is super amped to meet our
That's so
exchange
cool.
student. It's been invaluable having her experience, her knowledge, being able to answer questions for culture, and even something as simple as like, do you need a converter and an adapter? Do we need, what does he need to power his devices? And or even simple shit like, we want to surprise him. His birthday is rather rapidly after he
Within
gets
days
here,
of his
within
arrival.
days. So, that's a pretty big deal. He's not really supposed to contact his host family. We're not supposed to do like a bunch of,
his
authentic.
biological family.
I'm sorry, he's not supposed to contact his biological family. We are forbidden from speaking Portuguese. We're forbidden from really doing anything with his culture, but it's his birthday, damn it. So at least we can find his favorite dish, or some authentic dish that.
I was gonna say his favorite dish. I'm pretty sure we don't have that fruit here. I did ask.
There's gotta be a fruit though.
But he
that's
is desperate to try, and this is silly, but cultural thing. He is desperate to try macaroni and cheese.
macaroni, cheese, and chili. Which,
Yeah, real macaroni and cheese and chili.
we're gonna throw everything at him. I mean, he's gonna get pasties and banagaku, and we'll get some nisawa and some triniri toast, and some stuff that regionally. I mean, this is just what you have. Maple syrup. I can't wait to see if that's a thing.
Yeah.
Look, I really don't know. I mean, granted, he must have heard of it, of course, but then I did some research and found out that like they probably don't have maple trees now. That's not a thing. They may have a syrup that's close to it, like another tree that produces a sugary sap. But
They
it's
probably do leche.
La Leche, but that's a milk-based one. I
Yeah,
could see
but that's
that,
probably what they do. That's what they did in Mexico. I don't really think they. I'm trying to remember syrup now. You guys are kind of syrup spoiled, if you ask, me. I don't mind the cheap butter flavored artificial syrup from the store. So I might not have noticed that in Mexico, but it was really big to have a La Leche or whatever. And I don't know if that's because they don't have maple trees.
Personally, one of the things I forgot to put on the shopping list is to get the tapioca flour because they have the tapioca cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if he's going to like those or not, but damn it, he's going to get them because that sounded delicious when I read the recipe online. I was like, well, they're crepes but made with a tapioca flour, and it's this like super simple way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not even a thing for him. I have 100% believe we're going to like cook it, and he'd be like, I have no idea. Is this American food?
When he says his mom is like a great cook too, so I'm like, oh, that's a little intimidating. I mean,
we're great cooks. Yeah, we're great cooks. We're told constantly that we make we have a very, what did that one person say? An eclectic, a wide range of ethnicities of food choices, which again, we sit down and look at it.
Can you imagine him having fried bread tacos?
Right, fried bread tacos.
But we really did get off topic here.
That's fine. That's what these videos are all about. I mean, I'm hungry.
I'm excited to see him like eating fried bread tacos. There's some foods our kids don't eat that he would probably like. But there is going to be an adjustment because he's used to a much larger variety of fruits and vegetables.
The fruits and vegetables, I think, are going to be a problem. I think we're definitely going to have to pick up some jackfruit and some.
Well, and I think we're going to have to pick up healthier habits with fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Like I eat a lot of like steamed vegetables and stuff like that, but the rest of you don't. Which, I mean, he'll probably eat it with me. It'll be nice to have a healthier food buddy, but.
Well, and I've either got to get roadkill deer or we got to shoot one off the back porch here because that is too American, too.
You have to have some venison.
Too Youper. We'll have to definitely get some venison.
If you have somebody
somewhere.
who watches that gets a deer and they're willing to share just a little bit of venison.
That's a heavy ass though. That is.
Well, but he's never had rabbit.
He's never had rabbit.
He does eat chicken, and he does eat beef, but he doesn't really eat pork, and he doesn't really have turkey.
Yeah, but I mean the deer is so.
So those will all actually still be pretty like unusual dishes.
The only reason I really push deer is because if you talk about, and again, we're supposed to do regional specific cuisines and education. I mean, you talk about where I grew up. Like I shot a deer when I was in college. I shot it. I gutted it. I got it to my dad's house, and like this is like Sunday night, and I've got to go back to college. My dad's, you usually let him hang for a few days, and he's like, well, son, I'll take care of it, don't you worry. I said, oh, thank you, Dad. So he actually took it to a butcher because he was getting on in his years and didn't want to butcher my deer. And it's not cheap. It costs, at the time, I think it was like $75 to get it butchered. I was like, okay, well, I don't have a ton of money, but I'll pay for it. No, don't worry. I just took a steak, a roast, and some grind, some burger.
And sausage.
Yeah. No, okay, cool. So then my mom had a friend who was she took it because she had the big freezers. And she's like, well, since I'm storing it, I hope you don't mind, but I used up a few steaks and a couple tubes of sausage. Oh, well, you're storing it for me, so... She then found a friend who was driving across the UP. So he shows up. I was like, okay, I'll give you that time gas was cheap, so like $10 probably would have covered his. Oh, don't you worry. I just grabbed a roast and a loin, and we'll call it even. Okay, I think I had like 2 tubes of summer sausage, 3 steaks, some chop, and I forget what else I had. And so I'm putting my refrigerator. Next thing you know, my roommate ate one of the rolls of summer sausage.
Yes, it was your roommate.
Yeah, well, it could have been someone else too. But my roommate ate it, and then it was the Newman Center, was like, there was someone there who was like, you don't actually eat deer, right? I was like, well, yeah, we do. Well, can I try some? So, shit, so I had to cook up. And so I don't even know how much I actually ate of a deer I actually shot. So it's big business.
But the second one we got, like right before we moved, was the first time.
Yep.
that we ate for months.
We did. I mean, if you
After
can,
the
if you
move,
have,
like that really was like
if
we
you can
ground a
butcher and
bunch of
store it, yeah, that was.
I mean, that really kind of kept our freezer full
Mhm.
for the move, which we needed because when we move, you know, there's so many expenses associated with a move that you don't always even anticipate, like the moving truck and the boxes and.
Well, there's such a gap between your first paycheck and
Mhm.
everything else. I mean, that deer really did keep us in meat through the winter and through the spring easily.
I think it was February or March, and I cooked the last of it. But I made venison.
Oh, we had.
Oh my gosh, spaghetti.
Spaghetti
I made
was
so
the
much
big.
spaghetti with venison.
Yeah, spaghetti was a big one. We did a lot of chilies. We
Little
did.
tiny venison steaks.
What do they call those? The what's that M name? Medallions.
Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, so I mean, we ate venison.
Right. So again, I don't know if I've got to, really pony up and cowboy up and really get serious about deer hunting this year, or if we poach one, or if we get a roadkill one. Well, okay, so for you it's not poaching, but
I was gonna say, like
I mean, if that deer shows up in the garden, we were already given permission by my dad to go ahead and harvest it. He said the meat will be delicious in August. So.
Yes, but my hunting season begins at the very beginning of September. So.
Well, we're gonna stick you out in the bush somewhere. We'll go reserve a hole.
I just have to sit by the pumpkin.
Apparently, right? By the beans, they're getting mutilated. I can't believe you ate the beans and didn't even share one with your daughters.
They were good.
That's the rumor I got.
They were good, and there were only 3 I picked.
Yeah.
There weren't enough to share because there's 4 of them.
Not enough, right? But that's something that I think has to happen. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. If I've got I suppose we put out to the homeschooling community that we just want our exchange student to try venison.
Yeah.
Because he's not allowed to shoot one, which is just a travesty in its own right.
Yeah, he's not allowed to shoot a gun, drive a car.
We haven't heard back about a bow yet.
He can't. We don't know about a lawnmower yet either. If he's allowed to do riding a lawnmower.
By the time he gets here, though, that'll pretty much be worked. That'll pretty much be on.
Maybe twice.
Yeah.
But see, we do a lot of those chores on Friday afternoons. He'll still be in school. Yeah. So it's really kind of immaterial.
Mm-hmm. It'll be good. I mean, there's a lot of experiences for him still to have. We're still trying to make our list of what all we want him to experience. I mean, the ultimate goal, but it'll be hard as hell because we're a little far south. I really would love for him to go see the Northern Lights, which are spectacular, but you got to get about an hour and a half north of here to get the good ones. We could
just do a day trip and spend the evening and just suffer with the younger kids being a little grumpy. Honestly, if they fall asleep in the car earlier in the day and you let them sleep, they're building a new park up there too. A beautiful park, or at least they're trying to.
Yeah.
So like, I think we could make that happen if we know when the lights are supposed to be there.
Which is a pig and a poke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, even my guess, though, if just a random night we have him, because he lives in a city, like actually kind of a metropolitan area, from my understanding. So, I mean, talk about another mind blow that, like, if the night is clear, you come outside and fall, and I mean, the stars are immaculate, even up here where we still have some light pollution. They are just impressive in their own right.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. That'll be something I want them to experience. I don't know what else is there in the UP that we should probably put on our, I don't call it a bucket list because that's morbid as shit, but our exchange list.
Yeah. Our host list.
Host list, I like it.
Family list. A car ferry. He's probably never been on one.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of maritime.
Or Drummond. Or whatever. A car ferry would probably be an adventure for him. Sledding and skiing. Which
of course, sledding.
Those,
yeah.
like sledding at least will be free.
Oh my God,
for
that'll be
almost
so scary though, because if he breaks his arm,
Yeah, right. So
could you imagine if he blew out a knee or an arm? Or
no, I don't even want to. No.
Right?
I will pray that nothing happens. But he has a kid and he has to experience. Like he might as well have fun. But I think some of this stuff, like they do plan a lot with the host group. And I think like trying to participate in all of those activities would be very beneficial for
that'd
him.
be very great for him.
So yeah, like I think it'll be a lot.
I think we should
fun.
definitely build a sauna.
You just want to.
I just really want a sauna.
That would probably be home for him. Like he
Oh
will
my
probably
God,
not want
right.
to leave that in the winter. It'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yep, we were definitely warned that he will never be warm, even in our balmy 75-degree days that he's going to come into. It's
And he'll probably still feel chilly. So. But he's not a small kid, so maybe
Nope.
that'll help.
hopefully.
Like he might find that this chillier weather he's finally comfortable.
Who knows?
But I don't know. I don't think anybody is comfortable here in the winter.
No, you die a little bit. Die a little bit in the winter. That's always my mantra.
I think it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be really, really fun. And I do think that we need to like plan ahead. Like, I think I have the schedule printed off. So the public school is really great about having some information on their websites, but not so good about getting back to you. So we still have to figure out things like busing, which we've never had to do before. Well, we did with Bashman years
For a
ago.
little bit, yeah.
For about 2 years,
Yeah.
we dealt with that. So, but I don't know how it works here, as I assume it's a little bit different in every district. And he's not technically enrolled yet. They've just accepted it and said that they will definitely be willing to enroll him. We can't enroll him until he arrives. So that will be one of the top priorities the first, second week he's here, is to take him
Take him in and
enroll
get him,
him,
yeah.
and probably have him tour the school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we should talk to Julia so he can get snowmobiling under his belt.
he's not allowed.
Snowmobiles too?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Four-wheelers, snowmobilers, cars, guns of any kind.
Too bad that dog sled place went under. That'd have been
There's actually one
hilarious.
not far from here.
That one went under.
No, there's another one.
Is there another one?
Yeah, no,
I know the big
maybe
one.
they spot up the dogs and stuff when it went belly up.
Yeah, there was one that
I think
wasn't far from us.
you know, we've never taken one as a family, but I think it's time to do a horse and sled for the winter, a horse and sleigh. But unbeknownst to maybe most of your listeners, I absolutely hate the cold. When I get chilly, I cannot warm up. I struggle, like it gets into my bones and it takes me forever to warm back up. Like
True story, true
cannot
story.
get warm in the winter here. And it's not unusual for the kids to be like, Mom, come outside and play. And like I last 5, maybe 10 minutes and I can start feeling the frostbite set in my hands and my legs. So I do not stay outside in the winter. So a lot of the winter stuff that he'll probably want to try, I will maybe have the same like
Right, the same
stamina
limits
for
and-
it as he does, and then I'll have to go in because I can't handle the cold very well, and I
Well,
always feel bad about it.
And I'll be curious to see if he is actually into the wind. Like, does he?
Does he take to it like a fish to
Yeah.
water?
Or
Yeah.
is this something he really wants to try, or is it more of like a, okay, I built the snowman. Can we go
Can
inside
we go
now?
inside?
Like,
Inside this is cold.
do you want to go sledding? What's sledding? Well, you go on this ice hill, okay? And you get on a sled that goes like 100 miles per hour.
And you
but
want to avoid that tree.
You gotta,
right
you gotta,
in the
you
middle.
gotta avoid the tree and the jumps, and you know what? I mean, go ahead and take them, but why is there an ambulance at this sledding hill? Well, you know, every now and then you break
People
a leg,
Get hurt,
and,
people get hurt.
you know, like I'll be curious to see if he like takes like snowshoeing, skiing,
He
sledding.
might do snowshoeing. Like sledding is kind of like on that line. Like it does get scary. Sledding can be scary. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. we didn't go sledding last winter.
We did not.
Right?
That
like, we
was.
went the winter before.
Well, we were gonna go, and then we got a rainstorm that
Yeah.
iced the hill, and wasn't there someone who like seriously got hurt?
Okay, so that was the year that we actually did go sledding. And,
I thought it was last year too. Someone
no,
got like
no.
hurt.
So we went sledding like 3 times, and then the last time, 2 days later, it rained, and it like made the hill icy, and this little 5-year-old girl, I think, went down with her cousin, and they crashed against a tree together, and the cousin was pretty badly injured. I think he broke his leg, and he was okay. Her leg, the bone actually burst through the
Popped out.
skin, and so it was a huge, like, terrible thing. But then to make matters worse, her leg wasn't healing, and she got a bunch of infections, and they ended up having to amputate it.
Yeah.
So at 5 years old, from sledding, on the same hill that we had been on days before, she had to have her leg amputated.
I thought that happened this year.
No, that was the same year, because
Was
I
it?
was like, I even told you, I'm like, oh, thank goodness I did not see this before we went sledding, because I never would have been able to take the kids sledding.
Right.
So last year, there really wasn't good weather for sledding.
No, it was pretty.
Maybe a couple of days, and we had other stuff we had to do on those days. Like, we just couldn't make it. And honestly, if we go sledding this year, I would strongly suggest we do the actual sledding hill, and
Not that fun.
not that hill that everybody does. It's free, but I guess pay the extra little bit and go to the sledding hill. But they also do it as part of the teen youth group with the church and stuff. They do a bunch of stuff like that too. So he'll have plenty of opportunity.
Okay.
And I think they set up a ski trip with the host family, with the
Good.
exchange group. So
I'd love to get him out tubing, but with Grandpa. But I think that timing is just going to be crap.
with him coming so much later and
Yeah, and then leaving very early in the summer.
leaving in early June, I don't know if that's going to be possible. I mean, maybe in late May, very, very early June, but I don't think he's going to want to miss like the last 2 days of school,
No.
kind of thing. So, it would be a stretch. Like, he finishes school, we drive over, spend 3 nights, and do something, you
Yeah.
know? So, I don't know if that can happen, because I don't really like getting in the water in June until after
That's
the beginning of June.
still
is
pretty
over.
early there. That'll be.
So we'll see. I'm sure he'll have a good time regardless.
I mean, maybe he takes to winter. There is the 2 gentlemen up in Marquette who do the winter surfing, which is a riot.
Okay, he cannot do anything super dangerous though.
It's not dangerous. It's just
Yeah,
cold
yeah,
as
yeah.
cold as balls.
So yeah, and I do have to read the rest of that handbook. But
You really probably should. I wonder if you can go scuba diving, because that'd be some fun stuff to do. Get
I
all the kids
doubt
out.
it without getting certified.
Well, yeah, you got to do the.
So you'd have to do all the certification stuff.
Yeah, but I know enough master divers that we could get.
Well, we got
Get
enough
everyone
kids and
certified.
people in our family. We could
That'd
probably
be a
fill
class.
a class.
That'd be a class all on its own.
But yeah, so
Well, I know he said he does swim, but he's not good at it, and he accused me of being a fish.
oh, did he say that?
He says he has been swimming. He's not great at it.
Really?
Yeah. He was talking to Swedish Compass, and she was saying that, we have a pool and we have the lakes, and asked if he enjoys swimming. And he says he has been swimming. He can swim, but it's not his, like...
So he's probably like Bashman. It's like he can do
He
it.
can do it,
it's
yeah. He's
not
probably
his
right
favorite
on,
thing to do.
right on par. It's not something he's going to be pining over.
Well,
I
and
mean, a polar bear would be hilarious.
he likes basketball, and I asked him about that, and he said, because there's a team here, and I asked him if he wanted to join. He's like, I don't know. So I get the impression that he likes to play with his friends a little bit.
A little
here
bit,
and
yeah, just a
there,
little.
But he is really doesn't really seem to have an interest in being on the team, which is fine. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not on the team, it's a little easier on us with practice and stuff, not having to deal with going to games and practice. Because if he has games and stuff, we're going to be there.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. So, like, if he decides he doesn't want to do it, then it's just a little less. Like, maybe take him to a few of the games. And he's got to see a football game. And I know you guys aren't fans of football, but he's got to.
Well, and hockey has to happen.
And
I mean,
has to.
he's got to go to a hockey game. That's.
I have no, like, he has to play hockey. I don't care. Like, that's not
No.
my thing. But definitely seeing a hockey game at, like, for one of the colleges.
Yeah, one of the
maybe.
colleges here. I wouldn't take them to like any of the NLH or NHL games.
No, I don't
or,
want to go downstate. Like if we go downstate, I see it happening once in 10 months, right? Because that's a long trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'd probably want to rent a car or rent a vehicle.
Right, get a big
10 passenger.
Yeah. Well, the one car rental place did say that they would accommodate us if we gave them enough notice. They'd get us the right vehicle. We went through one company, local boys, good old boys, and the guy was actually really upset when we rented one because our big mama died.
Yeah, Big Mama was dead and I was not home.
You were not home, so we rented a van, and I talked to the guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's like, you want a 15 passenger? You doing like a little tour bus thing?" I'm like, "Well, I have 6 kids, and me and my wife." And he's like, "Holy, oh man, had I known, like, had you given me a week notice?" I'm like, "Look, if I can schedule my car breaking down a week in advance."
Right? Because what was going to happen is they were going to drive over, pick me up, and we were going to go to the island and stuff. And
Mackinac
do
Island.
Mackinac and stuff. And the car just broke down.
Yep.
And so they couldn't.
I mean, the worst thing that would have happened is we just couldn't turn. So I mean, it could still went straight.
Anyway. So yeah, so they couldn't really bring the big car that held all 8 of us, and so they rented a van, which actually was only a 7 passenger. And it wasn't a huge deal because I just had to drive your car.
Yeah,
to meet
just-
up with you guys. And a lot of the stuff we were doing, we were
It was walking distance. Yeah. Yep.
And I think we did like the mystery spot. I think that was separate. That was an entire separate trip because I don't
Yep.
remember driving two vehicles. to
Nope,
that.
it was just the island because we got the hotel room in Mackinac City, and then we
Yeah.
walked to the ferry, and we walked to
Yeah.
here, there, and the other place. And we were gonna do the mystery spot. We'd already done the mystery spot, I think,
Maybe the year before.
or earlier that before Big Mammy broke down.
Or we did it after.
Yeah.
There's a little deer over
Is there?
there. Yeah.
Get your gun.
Anyway, too far for me to reach. Plus, it's in somebody else's property.
Ah, he won't mind. We'll just explain it's for an
Those-
exchange student.
Those
I'm sure
things
he's.
are illegal. And it's very tiny. It's like a baby. Anyway,
So that's like veal right there.
and then by veal. Anyway, moving on.
Pivot.
So yeah, so that'll be like I would like to make a trip downstate, and because there's a lot of cool things for him
Yeah.
to see down there too. But I think that's a rent a car, and that's going to be a little bit more planning.
Yep.
So,
Definitely. But no, it'll be interesting. I can't think of any. I'm trying to think of more like Youper, like seeing the Sulaks, of course, going to the oh, there's 2 cranes flying right overhead. Ribeye in the sky. Grab your boat.
They like to mess with their chickens.
They do like to mess with our chickens and our turkeys. I mean, we definitely should go to St. Mary's, the 3rd oldest church in the United States.
That would be a beautiful place.
That'd
to
be a
go.
good place to go. I
But
mean,
a lot of that stuff is a day trip. Like we could make that into a day.
that can be a day trip. The cathedral would be a nice one. I mean, our cathedral versus to what he's probably seen my knowledge of.
Probably tiny.
Yeah, it's probably like, oh, okay, is this your everyday
Right?
church?
The cathedral an hour north of us, and
Yeah.
the cathedral 2 hours, 3 hours west of us, or east of us.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it'd be great for him, and I don't know what he's used to, but I do know that a lot of foreign countries, camping is not a thing. Like, it doesn't happen. So, like, taking him camping,
Yeah.
it would be nice to stay at that one place we drove through on the way back. Because it's kind of...
Hog Island.
Yeah, right
Yep.
around there. Because that's pretty centrally located. And if we wanted to do, like, a day trip with a night-long stay, that would be a nice place
good.
because it's right there.
Yeah.
It's easy to make it in
He's
our
definitely got to
direction.
go to the Uber tourist trap because
Yes.
that definitely.
But that's also
And, See,
quick
here's
trip.
here's another one. We've got to go find our copy of Escanab on the Moonlight. But I definitely think that should be like a month after he's been here.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's more like 4 months after he's been here. I'm sorry, but it's hard for me as a native English speaker to understand
Right.
that one guy. like from
This
Menominee.
is true. Menominee.
So yeah, no, that's like a November thing. Like you watch it like 2 days
And
before
I think doing a lot of maritime stuff. So go to the Shipwreck Museum.
Oh, he would
go,
probably love
yeah.
the Valley Camp.
The Valley Camp would be a fun one.
Shipwreck is so fun. I would love to go back there.
Yeah, the Shipwreck Museum.
We haven't been there in a few years, so I think this is actually going to be as much of like a lot of this is going to be new or barely remembered for most of our kids because we've done all of it. But for some of them, they were really, really little,
that's
like
true.
babies,
Yeah.
and some of them probably don't remember it at all.
No, I doubt it.
So it'll be fun because they'll be able to like experience things probably pretty fresh with him. Like it'll be pretty new for some of them with him.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of local culture, but we do it in like, I don't want to say we do it in splits, but we do it in like
Well, we talked to our own.
increments, like every 5 to 10 years. It's like, okay, we restart the system.
Well, we even talked to our own kids. Like, you go to the Tower of History once, and it's like,
You've been there.
okay, that's cool. You guys want to go back next year? No,
No,
I don't want to go back now. I mean, it's
It's
cool.
expensive and it's kind of like meh.
Yeah, I mean, that's even stuff like the Sioux Locks. I mean, they're cool, but I don't want to go back because it is
It's kind of a, okay, I just want to go for a walk. Well, let's then walk through the Sioux Locks. But it's not like, it becomes so everyday,
Yeah. Yep.
that it doesn't seem as,
Well, even like we used to go to Michilimackinac for like years in a row, and then we took a few years off, and then went back, and the kids were just like, "Oh, I love
I
that
forgot
town."
all about this.
When like the year before we stopped going, they're all like, "Oh yay, Michilimackinac!
Yes,
Yeah.
walk again.
Let's go look at the toilets again." It's-
Right. But then we went back and it was like seeing it. through
yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, the toilets! Let's go see if they've just dumped down the shitter." It's like,
Mill Creek, he would probably enjoy.
Mill
We
Creek would be
definitely have
fun.
I think we have to make that whole
Yep.
whole gambit. Probably the island too.
That'll probably maybe I think we did. Well, yeah, that'd probably have to be before he starts school. That's a trip we probably should start cracking on planning.
Or
Or just shortly after.
Or shortly after, do a end of summer weekend trip.
Because the island shuts down and it'll just barely be opening up by the time he gets his
Well, I mean, if we
Travel
planned it
papers.
like the weekend after he gets here, not the weekend he gets here, but the weekend after, everything will still be open. But like literally within days, 3/4 of that stuff closes.
yeah.
So that's something we'd have to like. Okay, let's get it.
Yeah, that's what you're planning and organizing. That's something we should probably talk to the car rental place and get the first trial of our big
10 passenger.
10, 15, 20 passenger van.
So we do have a vehicle that will hold our exchange student and all of the kids, but it will not hold both of us.
Yeah.
So either we'll have to take 2 cars, which when you have a family as big as ours, you need a lot of space for luggage anyway.
Yep.
Or we'll have to rent a vehicle. But we knew that going into it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of times where we take day trips or we take like short trips, and Dad has to work, so we leave you for home.
But see, the thing is, if I'm working, he's probably gonna be in school unless it's a professional development day.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times where like spring break, you're still gonna be working,
Mm-hmm.
and like a good portion of Christmas vacation, you still have to work. So
True story, but you're gonna want to be driving around in the
right,
winters,
Christmas,
right? And
Christmas time.
maybe I'll have you do my job and I'll drive around. Right? I'll go someplace.
Right. So, so there are a lot of times that we do day trips without you, but on the weekend we don't tend to. So we will have to take 2 cars, but I mean that's not bad. We have some pickiness that happens in the car where one kid will pick on another kid. So being able to separate them out a little bit more in the car wouldn't be terrible on those days.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Interesting. Yes, it will. But anyway, speaking about kids, we should probably get ours to bed, and this is getting towards an hour long. Should be a lot of fun. Any good concluders you want to finish off with before we sign off?
Mostly, I just don't know what to expect at the public schools.
No, that's going to be a pain in the ass.
I've never even enrolled a child that I remember. Like, I must have enrolled Bashman when he started because we had to pull him.
It was a thing, yeah. It was a thing. So it's probably been 10 years easily, 10, 11.
10, 11 years. And even when I enrolled him, it wasn't like it was a preschool program, so he never got enrolled into the public school program.
He did kindergarten, but we got him preschool, and then he just got transitioned into kindergarten.
Yeah, so we didn't
pulled him
have
from
to
kindergarten.
do this.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do this. I think he did like a kindergarten roundup, maybe thing.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And I think Swedish Compass did. I think she did a kindergarten roundup, and at 3.
Maybe.
At 4, after I'd been homeschooling for a year, we took her, and they're like, well, they said that they wouldn't put her a place or something because
something was weird.
Well, and she had a late January birthday. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will have probably, this will be an interesting adventure just to navigate the public school system this year.
Right.
And as an exchange student, I don't know if it'll be easier or harder.
Well, anyway, we'll leave it there and let's go tuck our kids in and say goodnight. So hopefully everyone's having a good time. By the time you see this, our exchange student will be with us and will probably be in school. So hopefully we can get him in front of the camera here in the next...
next to the camera?
Yeah, next to the camera to go do a little Q&A session. So anyway, hope you're all staying safe out there. Having a good day, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.